I got one idea that I'm especially psyched out of my mind about. You know, it's one of those ideas where you're just like, yes!
Dave? Dave Flynn?
On the radio!
Hold on to your butts.
Hey there, welcome to Dave Flynn on the radio, the #1 blogcast on the internet. I'm Dave Flynn, and since reading is hard, I'm going to do it for you. Today, we're telling the Jack story, a classic, a simple parable about a flat tire and the mental gymnastics people perform before they ask for help. This episode is going to help you understand why people show up frustrated, defensive, already upset, and how you can recognize that hidden journey and disarm them, break the tension, uncover needs, build trust, create better outcomes, all sorts of good stuff. This one covers business, pop culture, psychology, all of my favorites, and it can help you become more empathetic, which is a good thing in all walks of life. You can find more stories and essays like this at winwithflynn.com, but if you are ready, I was born ready. Let's jump into the show. The Jack story. I first read this story in Barnett Helzberg Jr.'s book, What I Learned Before I Sold to Warren Buffett. Helzberg built a jewelry empire before selling it to Berkshire Hathaway, and he made sure that every person at Helzberg knew the Jack story and knew what it meant. It goes like this. A man was driving down the highway on a sweltering summer day when one of the tires on his car suddenly blew out. Stopping to search the trunk, he was relieved to find a spare tire, but frustrated that he didn't find a jack. So he started hiking to the nearest gas station, more than a mile back down the highway. As he walked along, drenched in sweat, he began to think perhaps the station attendant might not want to lend him a jack. After all, he already had a spare tire, and he wasn't planning to have the flat repaired right away. The station attendant really didn't have anything to gain by helping him. The farther the man walked, the hotter and angrier he became, directing all of his discomfort at the station attendant, who he was now convinced would surely refuse to lend him a jack. By the time he got to the gas station, the man was so steamed about the attendant refusing to lend him a jack on this miserable hot day that he grabbed the startled attendant by his shoulders and demanded, "Why won't you lend me that jack?" The rehearsal. Arguing with someone who isn't there. On that walk, the man is essentially having a conversation with a ghost, creating an entire relationship with someone he's never met, complete with assumptions about their character and likely responses. But it's even worse than just imagining a bad outcome once. He's ruminating, cycling through the same negative thoughts repeatedly, each time making them more vivid and more emotionally convincing. Why would they help me? I'm not buying anything. They probably think I'm trying to take advantage. They probably had people like me before. With each step in the heat, the mental loop intensifies. By the time he arrives, he's not just worried about being turned down, he's certain of it. He's already experienced that rejection dozens of times during the walk. The anger isn't really about the attendant, it's an expression of vulnerability, needing help, which is uncomfortable. The walk becomes a rehearsal for disappointment, a way of protecting himself from rejection by expecting it. Before you solve the problem, understand the person. What have they been through on the way to your door, fact or fiction? The gas station attendant wasn't just dealing with someone who needed a jack. He was facing someone who had walked a mile in the heat, imagining the worst-case scenario. Every customer, every client, every person who walks into your business has taken some version of that walk. They arrive carrying invisible baggage, past disappointments, current pressures, fears of being dismissed or taken advantage of. Many have been mistreated before and now expect mediocre or terrible service. Some feel awkward asking for help. Others are so certain their needs will be ignored that they arrive defensive or combative. The instinct versus the opportunity. The instinct for most businesses is to jump straight to solving the problem. Get them the jack, call them the tow truck, move on to the next customer as fast as you possibly can. But hostage negotiators know something most businesses forget. People need to feel heard before they can hear solutions. In the classic film Speed, Keanu Reeves' character starts with a familiar problem-solving approach. Shoot the hostage. All action, no understanding. And it fails. It's only when he slows down, listens, and tries to understand the bomber, a man who felt invisible and dismissed, that a path forward appears. Psychologists call this felt sense, the experience of being acknowledged, of having your reality validated. Until someone feels that, their defenses stay up, and even the perfect solution will bounce right off of them. This is the opportunity. When you recognize that someone's intensity or defensiveness may have nothing to do with you and everything to do with their journey to your door, you can respond with understanding instead of matching that energy. You stop reacting to the surface demand and start addressing the human experience underneath, building a reputation for understanding. You build it by recognizing the person behind the problem, a customer who feels truly understood rather than merely served. Doesn't just leave satisfied. They become loyal. They become advocates. They remember how you made them feel when they were at their most frustrated. The man with the flat tire, he needed a jack, yeah. But before that, he needed to get past his fear and frustration. He needed someone who understood the walk. In business and in life, the deeper need is almost always the same: to be understood. That is the Jack story, a great little parable. I think most people can read that or listen to that and see themselves on both sides. The man making the walk, frustrated, angry, imagining outcomes and chasing those ghosts, as well as the station attendant that's busy and trying to get from one customer to the next and may not spend the time to just say something simple. Looks like you've had a rough day, or, hey, I saw you walking in. Do you have some car trouble? What can I do? The littlest acknowledgement that would defuse things. And I've had customers that are incredibly difficult. And after reading through this, I think back on them and I don't put them in the line of fire quite as much. It used to be, hey, Johnny's a total jerk and really hard to work with. But then you start going, oh my God, what is this guy going through day to day to where he's so freaking frazzled? What kind of deadlines is that group under? Or how demanding is that vice president of that group? And you start to look through it and you can have a bit more empathy and get a lot more done when you look at it through that lens. So hopefully you enjoyed it. It is one of a handful of short posts that are going to be in the Trust Book in some shape or form. We're going to sprinkle them into the blog and the blogcast over the next handful of months. So hopefully you enjoy those and they wet your whistle for the book launch that is forthcoming. There we have it. That's the pod. Thank you for listening. If you like what you hear, please share it with a friend. Give it a thumbs up. And if you've got a few extra seconds, give it a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you are listening. The engagement will make you feel so good, and it'll help other people find the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
All right, there you go, America. I love you. I'm proud of you. I mean it. We gotta go. This is great.